We love the crystal gems.
Because they're super gay.
And if you think they're not, we'll tell you anyway. I'm joined by Scott Frerichs, Kaiserneko. Hi, Scott. Thank you for
Hi,
coming
Kirb.
on. Ah, yes, as
Hi.
promised. As promised, we're talking about Lesbian Space Rocks, the animated series, as we teased back on the one of the DBZ Kirblogs. I did extend the invitation to Liz to join in this one, but she decided to pass. But I assure you she is absolutely equally a massive fan of Steven Universe as we are. And that's what we're going to talk about today. This show that has taken the goddamn world by storm in the
whole world,
all whole world of it. Took a little while, but I was very happy that it finally came to pass. It was very satisfying.
Wait, it's taken the whole. If it's taken the whole world by storm, does that mean that the Gems invasion was successful?
I would say so. I mean, you could say that it's just the three of them, and they don't need anybody else, so they can just stay. They can just go away. We don't need any of the other ones. That's it. Everything's fine. We're safe. We're good. Precious cinnamon rolls, or whatever the fuck people are saying about that. So, Steven Universe. I'm gonna start this time, actually. So, for those of you who I guess I don't like to make a big deal out of this because I don't like to be like, yeah, I knew before she became a star, but I went to college with Rebecca Sugar. She graduated 2 years ahead of me from the School of Visual Arts, and she was a teacher assistant for my main animation class of, I believe, my sophomore year. And I will say, I'm stealing this from Mike Uraka, one of my classmates and fellow animator. He put it as, we learned more from Rebecca in about an hour than we did from 4 years worth of all of the different teachers that we took classes from. Which is not to say that we had any bad teachers, because they were fantastic, but Rebecca, even back then, was an artist who was truly beyond her years, and her thesis film was fantastic. She moved out to California pretty quick, and I met up with her the first time that I went out to visit there, which was 2011, and she and Ian Cordy, who works on Steven Universe, both had their pilots picked up. And so Steven Universe, the original pilot, was being worked on at the time. And, she always lent a lot of advice, and she was very open and honest and cool, and I could definitely feel a lot of passion. And I'm glad because, I was, as we ended up getting this series, it proved to be pretty incredible. And now we've had it for, I think, well over a full year now, and we're pretty far into it. But yeah, it's been pretty fantastic, and then to have as a bonus too, as the time that this is going to be uploaded, I've just announced on the Tome Facebook page that Ivy Tran, who is one of the two composers on the series, and I've known her and Stephen Vilema Surashu for a few years now from working on Cryomore, an RPG project, and Ivy has already provided a guest track for the final episode of Tome that will be premiering at Anime Expo next weekend on July 5th, Sunday. Anyway, but getting to see Ivy and Steven get to work on the series as well was fantastic, and I'm really happy that it's helped kind of make them explode in terms of people really enjoying their work, because they're both fantastic musicians, for sure. But so now about the pre-production stuff, the show itself. Scott, I'm going to jump to you now. Please tell me things you love about this wonderful little show that we have.
It's got brilliant music.
Yes, indeed.
Actually, one of the things I do love about the show is its musical element, because unlike any other animated show on television right now, I feel like it's got it actually incorporates, usually these short, about minute, maybe minute and a half, little jingles. They're very, they always tie into the plot in a manner that, that helps move the plot along. But they're also very good songs in their own right. And the entire cast seems to be picked by their ability, not just for their acting and their way to their portrayal of the characters, but also to be able to support that element of the show. You have the guy who plays Steven. I'm not actually sure what his name is.
Zach Callison. He's super good.
I feel bad. There's only one cast member in the entire show that I know, and that's Estelle, who plays Garnet.
Yes, who is also like brilliant. And it's like you'd look at that and be like, oh, that's the most like stunt casting, or whatever. But she's perfect.
Yeah.
And I'll say too. I was looking up I'm also stealing this opinion from somebody, but I completely agree with it. Off tangent slightly. I was looking up clips of the show in other languages, and some of the dubs are pretty cool. Nobody has gotten Garnet right. Not that their performances are bad, but nobody has captured her personality like Estelle has. Like, so I'm going to be a reverse, snob as anime fans are with like the Japanese version. Nothing can ever replace it. I'm totally that when it comes to Garnet. So like, Estelle just absolutely just is that character 100%.
And it's sort of interesting because when you listen to her, so Estelle, for those of you who don't know, is a huge British pop star. She's kind of pop R&B. It's hard to place her exactly, but she's got a brilliant voice. If you ever check out her song "American Boy," it features Kanye West, and even though I don't like Kanye West as a person, he's actually a pretty damn good rapper. And you'll find out that she is so good. Like, she has just got like her rhythm, her tone, her melody. She's just great. So she plays Garnet in this series, and when you watch the show, there is a part of you that wonders, okay, is this monotone, like, stoic delivery just a byproduct of her being a bad actress? Or is this really just the character and the way that she carries herself? And regardless of what it is, it's perfect. Because Garnet is one of my favorite characters in the entire show. And again, about the musical elements, she's only gotten one song in the entire series. And I don't know if we're going to go into spoiler territory. Maybe at one point in this episode we can talk about spoilers with a good old spoiler warning.
Not immediately, but we can say that she's had one song and god damn is it a great song.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best songs, and big surprise, it's one of the best songs in the entire series, sung by like the huge British star singer, but it's really good. And not to mention the actress for Pearl. Do you know who that is?
That is Dee Dee Magno-Hall.
Damn, you're good at this.
Yeah.
She, besides being a fantastic actress, is also a wonderful singer. And she has so many songs in this series, and they're so good. So good.
For sure. Yeah, we at the time that we're recording this, there was an episode during the Stephen Bomb, I think last week, I think?
The Stephen Bomb 2.0.
That's right, yeah. The second of many that we've had, and hopefully we'll continue to get more of.
Too many?
I'm not complaining.
We have had two, and number 3 is going to be in July. So
yeah, I mean, hey, I guess I'll get into more of this point later. Yeah. But because I was going to say, like, having like that many new episodes in a row, like weekdays, reminds me of like when Toonami was running so many new episodes of Dragon Ball Z back in the day, and the parallels between it's really fitting that I have you on here because. Once again, every fucking Kirblog, it's got to come back to Dragon Ball Z. The parallels between this show and Dragon Ball are so ridiculous. Like
they just keep laying them on too. Like between the ending of season 1 and Connie's outfit in one of the latest episodes.
Yeah. Although I was told yesterday by Mike Lucas that apparently that outfit is also like from. I believe that Connie's supposed to be like half Indian, half Asian. I think I could be wrong.
Oh no, that outfit is definitely Indian. And
which I mean, Piccolo's whole kind of. I mean, he's very like kind of cross between like Middle Eastern, Hindu,
but honestly,
kind of thing.
That color combination, it's the exact same red, exact same purple. You cannot ignore the fact that Connie's outfit is 100% top to bottom. Gohan's outfit.
Yeah. What the hell was I even saying before? I was getting to a point somehow. This show is good.
Yeah, no.
Look what it's doing to us.
Oh wait, is it Gohan? Was it Gohan's or was it? I don't know. Yeah, no, it was Gohan's from the Android Saga.
Saiyan Saga. Yeah.
No, Android.
Was it Android?
Oh, and maybe Saiyan. And maybe Saiyan.
He had it from. It was the Piccolo camp outfit, but either way, yeah.
Yeah, either way. But yeah, no, fantastic. Yeah, like, of course, the musical element isn't my favorite part, but it has been such a huge part as of late that it's been on my mind.
Yeah.
I
guess, well, maybe for the odd chance that there's been some people who haven't seen it, because, like, it did take a little while for it to pick up, because, like, the first season was filled with a lot of just kind of, like, filler, like, well, not filler, because, like, it was character development stuff, but, like, a lot of people really, really got big into it when, the big plot stuff related to the lore of these, these alien crystal women started to come more to the forefront. So I guess for people who, like, maybe haven't been fully captivated yet, like how would you describe the show to somebody who, like, maybe hasn't gotten fully into Steven Universe yet?
It's a little bit difficult. It's kind of this science fiction fantasy slice of life series that sometimes incorporates bigger action elements. It actually has a bit of a Monster of the Day feel at the beginning. That over time it actually kind of fades out as it becomes a little bit more focused on, like, these individual stories about the characters and about building the world. That's something that the series has been working very hard on, is not just building the world, but building the world outside of it. Like, it keeps telling you little things about the Gems' homeworld and their past, and, like, you get to learn more of why they're there and why there's such a secret around it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting because I think I might have talked a little bit about this before, but no, you know what? I think I did. I was doing a Kirblog recently about, fantastic characters doing normal things, and Steven Universe is, like, a perfect example of this. I have a friend who, he's watched almost the entire show, and he legitimately doesn't enjoy it. Like, he's tried, like giving it, like, a genuine shot, and he just can't really understand, like, why, why so many people enjoy it. And he asked me to explain why it is that I like it, because he wants to understand. So I tried to, and he brought up a point of, like, okay, say there's an episode where, Steven's just kind of hanging out in the place that they live in, their little house, like, up on the beach. And, the Gems come in, and they're just like, oh, hey, Steven, we just got back from fighting a giant monster or whatever. And then the whole rest of the episode is, Steven doing something with, like just some kind of menial task, like, around Beach City or whatever. And my friend's point was, why can't they just show us the Gems fighting the giant monster? Like, that sounds awesome. I want to see that. And, and I said, that's fair. But at the same time, it's like, there is, like, I did a whole Kirblog about it already, but basically there is something really endearing about the fact that, like, it is just a lot of normal human things that the characters are going through. Both the Gems from that kind of Little Mermaid perspective of, I don't get this because I'm not human, and, Steven from the perspective of just, he's a little kid and he's, still learning a lot of shit.
Yeah. Whereas the Gems are trying so hard to learn why humans do certain things that they do and how to fit in. Steven's trying to figure out more about gem culture and what that means, and one is infinitely more dangerous than the other. So it's really curious, and you talked about the whole Gems fighting the monsters. Mm-hmm. You get a lot of that in season 1, but as you learn, okay, they fight monsters. I mean, at a certain point, it stops being all that exciting because they're gonna win, and it's not about the fight.
I think the other thing too that I was talking with Mike Rocco, who I mentioned earlier, about this. We were meeting up for lunch a few days ago, and he just recently got really, really deep into the show. And something he was really happy about and really enjoying about it was the fact that it has a continuing story, and the fact that, I mean, obviously it's an 11-minute deal, so there's only so much you can squeeze in.
And it's largely episodic, but
yeah. But even, in the recent episodes with this last Steven Bond, the last 5 that we got, there's a lot of stuff that they just, expect you to know because you had to have kept up about things going on with where certain characters are and, why characters have certain forms and what characters, are what, after a lot of key events have happened after the end of Season 1. Mm-hmm. And, and Mike was getting really into that, and I was telling him, this is one of the main reasons I think why people, especially when it first, started becoming really big in America, why people like anime so much is because it is something that you can get fully invested in and attached to. It's not just the continuity resets at the end of the episode. Because my point about that was, on that same kind of note, with the attachment that you get to this cast of characters, other shows on Cartoon Network right now are probably technically funnier. Gumball, Regular Show, Adventure Time, etc.
Oh, by far. There are definitely funnier shows than Steven Universe. But
right. But this show, because of the attachment that I have to the characters, it makes me laugh harder than any other show on Cartoon Network right now.
Because when the comedy happens, you know why it's funny. Why it means so much to them. When Steven mistakes something, or when Amethyst reacts in a certain way, or when Garnet, I don't know, you're right, because with this investment, and not only in the plot, but with the characters, everything hits harder, and everything just means more.
And it's so silly, too, sometimes, because it's it can be over some of the most menial, whatever kind of stuff, but it just, the way it's timed out, it just, catches you completely off guard, and it's so goddamn funny. Because, my biggest example, I guess we're going to go into maybe slight spoiler territory, but you've probably seen a lot of these before at some point. So there's an episode where Steven and this other character, Connie, who I guess is kind of his love interest, although that's kind of up in the air right now.
Are we going to talk about Stevani?
Yeah, so...
Okay. Legitimately, and I'm going to say this because the Stevani episode, by the way, we will talk about all of Stevani this podcast. I have to. It means that much to me.
Okay.
So within this series, and this is something that's introduced very early on, there is a concept called fusion.
If you like Dragon Ball Z, you are probably familiar with it.
Yes, and it is also done via dance. I can't help but think that was... I mean, maybe it wasn't intentional at all, but wow.
I'm pretty sure. I know for a fact that Rebecca's a big One Piece fan, so I would go ahead and assume that I'm sure she's seen enough of Dragon Ball Z that was probably an influence. But I mean, maybe that's presumptuous of me, but I think that's fair to say. So,
but
anyway.
Either way, seriously, these are decent spoilers because this whole concept is a pretty big deal when it happens.
Well, because I know you're probably kind of heading with this with another couple certain characters, but I wanted to say, so I guess just to set the stage for that, so the gems have the ability to fuse with each other in general. That's not that big of a spoiler. It's part of their magical abilities, and they can become new characters that have their own specific powers, their own voices, their own personalities. They are completely separate characters. They're not as simple as Gotenks or Vegeta, which granted the DBZ fusion characters kind of have their own personalities too, but it's a lot deeper than that because they're built from the direct connections between the two gems that fuse together.
It's like they took the personalities and then made a whole new one.
Exactly, yeah, a completely new entity out of it. But because Steven is, again, it's part of the whole premise of the show is that he is part human and part gem because his dad is a human and his mom was one of the Crystal Gem alien women. He discovers the ability to fuse, and the first person he fuses with is, again, I guess it's kind of difficult to say if she's still a love interest at this point, but this character, Connie, who he connects with very deeply, and they become this beautiful, kind of gender ambiguous, badass woman that just for the whole rest of that episode is just kind of going around town and having a whole experience, as Garnet jokes, and just the reaction that the different characters around, the characters that you're already familiar with from the show, she as Stevani, the fusion character, goes around and they have these open mouth reactions, was Sadie and Lars at the donut shop Like,
Which-
just their mouths hang open. Like, I was dying for, like, a solid minute, and when I saw that, like...
And the part that's really fascinating about that is Stevani is very gender ambiguous, but you, like, at first glance, you say that's a chick. But, you know, with the way that the character carries it, herself, himself, itself... themself. There's this certain, like, you have to wonder, was it so intentional that they were trying to go with this kind of binary character that's just... Sadie's reaction. Sadie reacts very much the same way Lars does in this, oh my god, she's beautiful, I want to give her things. And you get this moment of, okay, either she's interpreting this as just a male character, or Sadie's got some kind of bisexuality going on, which I'm okay with both.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating because, yeah, both of them react in this love-struck way to this character. And I like, the moment I saw that, I was like, this show is doing something I've never seen another animated series in the United States ever try and do.
Yeah, I mean, it's... I guess that's a whole other subject in and of itself, too, but I mean, to hit that up, its sense of not being afraid to just, you know, outright be able... I mean, because we hit a nice stride with... I've talked about the Korra and Asami deal with the end of Legend of Korra. This show, with its characters, completely embraces, and I'm incredibly, delightfully surprised that Cartoon Network just says, like, go for it more, or at least from, you know, the way that we get it for the most part, with, like, it's very clear that characters of the same, you know, at least, I guess, approximation of gender, because even the gems... Gender. Yeah, because even the gems technically don't have genders the same way that the human characters do, but they're identified as female, like, in terms of the closest equivalent of it. But it's very clear that there are a lot of characters in the show that just flat out embrace homo or bisexuality, and it's completely just like, this is a thing, it's just accepted as normal, and I'm just like, good, thank you, we need more of that in general. I would really like that.
Yeah, you know, when you asked what my favorite part of the show was, we're actually getting to my favorite part of the show. My favorite part of the show is how it talks about sexuality, gender roles, and what they mean to certain characters, and what they do with it. Because something about the whole fusion element of the series is that when it's introduced, they don't talk much about what it means to each of the characters. But as it goes on, and as they continue to talk about fusion, you realize that it is something very important to these gems. Gems who fuse, they do it out of love, or at least, if not love, then a certain amount of, like, what's the term?
It's a relationship of some kind. It doesn't have to necessarily be a romantic relationship. In some cases it is. Or in some cases it's at least very deep care, and not necessarily like, you know, we're in a relationship.
There's mutual respect and you know, adoration going on. Which is why the first time you see a fusion, it's really difficult for these two characters, because while they care very much about each other, they're always getting on each other's nerves. And it was implied that they were able to fuse much easier in the past, but as time has gone on, it's become more difficult. And we start to get the implications of why it became more difficult, too, but that's another subject. And, you know, it's in the episode Giant Woman, because, in fact, these two gems fuse into a giant woman.
Yeah.
But you find out that, you know, it is very much about trust and respect, and, you know, it's this act that two people consent to and take part in, and it's a combination of two people into a unity. So it's pretty heavily implied that fusion, in a way, is kind of the gem version of sex.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily like as cut and dry as that.
Of course
but I think
not.
but definitely and I know you didn't mean it that way, but definitely there are a lot of parallels, and especially with some of the recent ones where I guess now we can just flat out go into spoiler territory. By the end of the first season, we had Ruby and Sapphire, who I absolutely love to death, and I really want to see them come back at some point soon, which hopefully that will happen. Who are made up of Garnet, one of the main characters. Garnet is the fusion of their relationship, like their flat out romantic relationship.
Ooh, yeah, okay. Well,
yeah.
Probably want to put a spoiler warning before that one because that.
Oh no, for sure. No, I'll have like a little note on the screen.
All right, cool. Because that is the big reveal of season 1.
Yeah, for sure. It was beautifully done.
Yeah, and at any point, if anyone had any question of whether or not it was Estelle's acting or lack of acting that made Garnet's character, she proves very quickly in just those last 2 episodes. Oh no, she's a good actor. Or at least she's doing the job exactly as she's supposed to.
Yeah, for sure. And so we have that, which was fantastic. That was a really, really massive one. And then in recent times, we've also had Malachite, which is a fusion between a bad guy and a good guy, sort of, by a very different kind of, I guess, abusive relationship. And then what else we got? Oh well, in a recent one, we also had Rainbow Quartz, which was because we've been having, which I've been really happy about. We've been getting more episodes kind of showing the past of when Greg, Steven's dad, was younger and when he first got to know
how
Rose
he
Quartz.
met Steven's mother.
Yeah. and seeing kind of like these kind of early depictions of Amethyst, Garnet, and Pearl, who were very different and have clearly gone through a lot of changes.
Yeah.
Because man, oh man, Pearl is salty as fuck.
Yeah, it's sort of amazing just to see because, you think about a lot of series where characters are sort of static, especially the more episodic series, and with the episodic nature of Steven Universe, you very could have easily chalked their personalities, they'll probably be the exact same way they were at the beginning of the show. But no, they're very different.
Yeah.
Like, Garnet is, for the most part, similar to how she usually is, but she's a little more impulsive and a little less. I don't know. She's a little more reserved, even more reserved than she is in the series proper in these flashbacks. But Amethyst is hilarious. I love past Amethyst.
Yeah, she's like a little animal, like a little doofy, like a kid who just really likes pretending to be like a fucking dog or a cat or something. Like,
yeah, only it's a little less
precious.
pretending.
Yeah.
And Pearl is fucking. She's like a mean girl.
Yeah, no, she's completely like she's like practically a different character at that state.
Yeah, and it's fascinating to see this because like subconsciously anybody who knows like how a story would work realize why those characters change.
Yeah. It's I want more past episodes, like, because when they had the first one with just the general sort of flashback of how Greg meets Rose, like, I loved it, but I was like, I want more of this. It's only 11 minutes. I need more. So I'm hoping with one of the recent ones that we'll get more of that because that would be really cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the series uses these flashbacks not just to tell the relationship of Greg and Rose.
Yeah.
But Rose's development. Which, by the way, thank God that exists.
Yeah.
Because
for sure.
while I loved Rose Quartz as the perfect waifu, and I did, I was like, God, all praise Rose Quartz, the perfect gem. It is actually so fascinating to see her personality defects, her own failings, her assumptions and condescension, and it's so good because I didn't want her to be this perfect character.
No, I mean it was really great seeing just like kind of the the mystery of hers very slowly unfold through, various things throughout the entire show so far. But as we've gotten to this point, it's been incredible because it's like we're seeing development like in the past, like stuff that already happened, which on that note, something that's making me very, very like even more excited for more and more and more and more of this. I mean, Scott, you and I was talking about this I was doing a Kirblog earlier this week about planning out your stories. You and I mean, I know that you haven't gotten to show your stuff on that stuff, outside of just adapting DBZ for DBZ Abridged, but you and I both have ideas for like cool long-term stories and like, ideas for big, grand, amazing kind of things. I remember when the show first started, and when the fan base was still kind of growing, it was a little small, I was seeing a lot of really interesting theories about stuff. For instance, from the fact that we learned that Steven gets his little belly button gem from Rose after she, gave up her life for him to be born. So people thought for a minute that that Garnet having 2 gems before obviously the Ruby and Sapphire reveal happened, that, oh man, what if Garnet lost both of her parents, and that's like part of the reason why she's so serious, which was a pretty decent theory. I was like, okay, I could buy that.
I never even heard
cool.
that one.
Yeah, I saw that around like quite a bit actually, and what was amazing is that then when they finally revealed it, I think it was Ian Cordy who did work on the pilot, and he's been with the show since the beginning with Rebecca. They revealed that in the pilot there were teases of the fact that they had the Ruby and Sapphire reveal planned before the show was even picked up.
Oh yeah,
no,
and that was a huge thing that was basically fueling the theory that she was actually 2 gems fused.
Yeah, and I think on that same note too. I mean, even though because they've described this in interviews, like just behind the scenes working on the show and everything, that they let a lot of the people who work on it bring a piece of themselves. They which was the case with Adventure Time. I didn't even mention because Rebecca also was a board artist on Adventure Time for a long time, and that's kind of the beginning of a lot of the funner musical stuff like "Daddy, Why'd You Eat My Fries" and all that stuff, and bacon pancakes was all Rebecca.
That makes way too much sense.
Oh yeah, no, that was all her. Yeah, no, she was a major player on that show for her time on Adventure Time for sure. And but on that similar note, yeah, both Adventure Time and Steven Universe's their crews are allowed to kind of stretch their creative legs within the confines of the show. And at the same time, on top of that, it's very clear that Rebecca and the core members of the team, Ian and whoever else, is regarded in that, they have a pretty clear idea of what the lore of the show is and probably the kind of the long-term, development of a lot of the characters and, where they're going to be going and maybe what other stuff might happen. At the very least, it seems that way. And it's giving me confidence that, like, a lot more cool stuff is going to happen with all of these characters as the series progresses, because there's so many different things and so many, like, amazingly interesting, like, shit that could happen at any moment, like, from episode to episode. And it just, like, it doesn't stop getting better and better,
Yeah, no.
Like, yeah.
It's so fascinating to see what she's planned, because there are things that are mentioned very early on that come back in big ways. So I love this show. I absolutely am in love with this show. I'm in love with what it does with its characters, how it explores the universe, how it explores very human emotions. Like, these characters are deeply interesting and relatable. I just
you can't even go on.
The characters are my favorite part of the show. That like their relationships with each other are just so good.
Yeah.
Although since I have leveled so much praise upon this show, there was something you said earlier that really should be addressed.
Okay.
The 11-minute time frame for each episode is a handicap. It is first and foremost a handicap to this series, because while it is nice to be able to get these easily digestible immediate stories, there are too many times, especially as of late, where I felt like they've had to rush the endings because they're running out of time.
I will admit, especially after seeing the Jailbreak two-parter, this is definitely a show that I wish had a full half an hour time slot. I think that even if that was the case, it would probably still have to be divided up in the way that what was the Jailbreak was the second half of the season finale. I forget what the first one was called. The Return. I think it would probably end up being split up like that in terms of like, you know.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and I could certainly live with that. And you know what? Maybe for all we know, maybe that'll be how the show gets to be after a while. Like, you know, it's very possible because I think that even regular show and Adventure Time, if I'm remembering correctly, I think that later they would compile episodes into each other and just make them into half an hour full ones that they would play back to back. So I think that is possible, and you know, and probable that it could happen because I think that they've already confirmed we're going to be getting a lot more of these, which thank God, because I was worried for a while. I was worried that this was a show that was going to get canceled, like many good shows that start off and then they just for whatever reason
they better be selling some goddamn merch. No, seriously, because a lot of these shows keep living and dying on merch that is not usually freaking available.
Yeah. Well, there has been merch, and I mean the iOS game did really well, from what I understand.
I played it.
Yeah.
I played it so much, dude.
Tack the Light.
I was so upset when I was done with it because it's not a long game. It's an iOS.
No.
It's an RPG, but it's an iOS RPG. And when I finished it, I was so sad.
I love that it uses the distance models for the little sprites as well. That's adorable.
Yeah, I think that's really cute.
Yeah, that was definitely an animation technique that I picked up on. I used for Tome at some point. I want to go into this is the now we get to have fun part. Hopes, dreams, theories about the future. Without getting too ahead of ourselves, I think we'll definitely get Steven's birthday and Ruby and Sapphire hanging out as an episode, as kind of the implication from the season 1 finale.
That had better happen because I will not lie. I'm champing at the bit for more Ruby and Sapphire.
Yeah, they were. I was immediately in love with them in season 1 at the end.
You only get them for just one episode.
Yeah,
and it's just for these fleeting moments where you get to meet them. And you're just like, oh my god, you are the cutest and the best.
Yeah.
And
yep.
I'm just, it's killing me. So that had better happen.
For sure. Malachite, I'm sure, will resurface at some point. It's only a matter of time, as it's been implied with one of the recent ones. How that's going to go, it's going to be crazy, but for sure. And then Peridot's still out there, and Peridot is such a goddamn nerd. And I mean, we've had teases of Yellow Diamond, and from the symbol we've been seeing everywhere, it sounds like that there are other colored diamonds. So I mean, I'm curious as to what they're going to be like, and similarly, just more gems in general. I'm really curious about what's going to happen with those, because we could get some really cool characters out of that. I think I completely understand why the use of new gem characters has been very sparse and very, when it's time, when it's really the proper time. I totally don't want to rush into that, but I'm curious as to more other characters from Homeworld, or maybe even other gems that might still exist on Earth for all we know.
Well, are you prepared for Sardonyx?
Sardonyx?
Yes.
Is that a mineral I've never heard of?
No. It one of the promotional images for the next Steven Bomb mentions Sardonyx is coming.
Oh, I did not see this. Well, then, I mean, your turn. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sardonyx is coming. I mean, I'm not really sure who or what Sardonyx is. There was a rumor going around, but I think it was wrong, that we'd seen Sardonyx before. But I'm not gonna give that any.
Yeah, fair enough.
Credence. But if I had to guess, I personally say, because if you look at the Sardonyx gemstone itself, it's a combination of this kind of reddish and white. So if that's not Pearl, I'm gonna be surprised. Pearl and Garnet.
That's true. Yeah, we haven't had that yet. That's right.
Yeah, they're the only fusion that we've seen Alexandrite before we've seen Pearl and Garnet.
Which is all three of them. All four of them, technically.
Technically all four. But which, by the way, holy shit! So you get to meet the fusions. You meet Opal. You meet Opal, which is Amethyst and Pearl. You meet Sugalite, which is Amethyst and Garnet. But we have not met the fusion for Garnet and Pearl. We met Alexandrite, which was a combination of them all, which was totally monstrous and scary and weird.
But by the way, a little side note: did you see somebody went frame by frame on when Alexandrite gets separated? And there is, I think, 2 frames of Ruby and Sapphire when they all get separated and they go back into Garnet again.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Goddamn brilliant.
Yeah. And the best part about Alexandrite, by the way, is the anticlimax of their introduction.
Yeah.
Really, legitimately, you don't expect that. Suddenly, boom, Alexandrite's here for a fucking dinner party. God damn it. I was so confused. I literally was like, Did I miss an episode? No, wait, hold on. And I had to look it up. No, this is the introduction of Alexandrite. Congratulations. Yep. There she is.
With Connie's parents, which, by the way, was also a nice reference with Mary Elizabeth McGlynn and Crispin Freeman as the two of them, which I thought was hilarious.
Wait, Mary Elizabeth McGlynn and who?
And Crispin Freeman are
oh my god,
parents.
that's Crispin Freeman. Oh, man.
Yeah,
huh.
yeah. So, and also I think... in that Little Butler show that Amethyst and Greg were watching, I believe there was an actor in there that was like it sounded something like Scott McNeil. So it was like, oh, the anime references. I just can't get enough. I said before, the amount of general I mean, not just Dragon Ball, but the anime influences on the show. It's just it cracks me up.
Oh,
I love it.
I should probably say though, one of the things I'm expecting. Are 2 things, and they're both fusion related. Okay. Oh no, well, 3 things, and they're all fusion related, huh? 1, Peridot in the season finale talks about the cluster.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, wait.
Remember, she's talking. No. She's talking to Jasper, and Jasper's like, "We're taking them back to Homeworld," and Peridot's all like, "But Jasper, we came to check on the cluster."
I don't remember that.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, it's a very small line. It's during their conversation. Jasper snaps at her this is a big deal and we have to go. I'm suspecting that the cluster has something to do with Keep It Together.
Yeah, the failed fusions. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
2, Stevani, Sword and Shield.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's happening.
Riding in a battle on Lion.
It's going to be the most glorious Viking-ass bullshit ever. I am so down for that.
I need it in my life. And 3rd, I do expect there to be a fight against Malachite. I do think at some point... one of the combinations of Malachite will in fact lose their well, I do think they'll lose themselves, and Malachite will just become a flat out force of nature that needs to be stopped.
Yeah. Malachite I think will definitely be a presence again at some point. I think that's definitely a fair assessment on that one. There's so much open, and I mean, we haven't even talked about the human characters, which are all. We're so swept up in the lore and all the Crystal Gem stuff, of course, but the human characters in their own right are pretty great as well, and all of the individual slice of life story. Because everybody's gotten an episode. Every single person in that village has gotten an episode, and all of them are funny and cute, and I'm curious as to where they're gonna go with some of them down the line, particularly Jamie, for no reason in particular. Shut up. It's a coincidence. Shut up. God. From a personally selfish perspective, I just want more music from Ivy and Steven. More of their BGM combined with more of Rebecca and Company's songs. My body is ready for that. My ears too, believe it or not. Yeah, that's quite a bit. I guess you know what? I have one more closing thought, and if you wanna, do you wanna say anything more? I guess on that front, or
anything else? You know what? I'm not really sure I have much left to say. That. You know, the rest of it's probably just going to be me just gushing more about the individual parts of the show that I love, which, trust me, we could do that all day. I really could just talk about Steven Universe until I'm blue in the face.
Yeah. Or blue in the hair, like your Persona character.
Shut the fuck up, Kirb.
I drew you as a lion with blue hair.
I'm happy about this.
I'm glad. And also, the turquoise is my fucking gemstone. Oh, the Uncle Grandpa crossover episode is fucking brilliant, and if you were a fan of the show and you have not watched it, do yourself a favor. Please go watch it.
Okay, look,
Thank you.
as somebody who does not like Uncle Grandpa, I liked that episode. I thought it was funny. I thought it was cute. The meta humor was just so well done.
And you know what? I'll even go ahead and say I don't personally enjoy Uncle Grandpa, but I don't mind it. It is not a show that makes me want to barf like fucking Johnny Test or whatever. I think it's perfectly acceptable that it exists. I totally respect anybody who does
that's the measuring stick, is it?
Oh yeah.
Don't worry, guys. It's not Johnny Test.
It's not no, but like for real, I don't think it's a bad show. I don't personally enjoy it, but I don't mind that it's around. I like Uncle Grandpa himself as a character. Mr. Gus is kind of funny as well, especially in the fucking crossover episode. I met Kevin Michael Richardson also, and he was talking about recording on that. Was a blast. But anyway, well, do you have any like closing thoughts? I guess just in general as we're kind of coming to a head here on everything.
Give the show a watch. The first season starts off pretty slow, but and I know this is such a shitty thing to say, but after the first like 10 episodes, they're 11 minutes, so it's more like after the first like 5 20-minute blocks, you know, get past that first hurdle where you can tell they're trying to find their footing, and you will find a series that is doing things that no other animated series is doing right now.
Yep.
Like you'll find an animated series that says things about sexuality, about family, about love, and
relationships in general of any kind. Yeah.
And the kind of world building that you just would never. It's more compelling than you could ever believe.
Yeah. And was there more? Sorry.
Just please give it a try. I've had the most battle hardened of cartoon fanatics give into this show. Did you know Gon likes this show? Gon likes this show a lot. Yes.
Oh my god! Wow.
Yes, I know. I did not expect it, but
for those of you who don't know anything personally about Gon Xingpa, that is a feat. I'll say that.
Then again, Avatar is like favorite animated series of all time.
Oh, that's true. Well, yeah, but then again, Avatar. I mean, Avatar already took the world by storm ages ago. So to be fair.
But no, seriously, give it a try. I almost assure you that you'll find something in there that is compelling enough to keep you watching. And if you don't, then I don't know what it's like not to have a heart.
And if you're already watching the show, then I mean, thank you for continuing to and support it, and let's make sure it keeps going for a while, because this is one that I wouldn't mind going on for a very long time, because I can tell there's so much that they could do with it. There's so much that they probably want to do with it. If I don't know, Ivy, Steven, or anybody associated with it, if you guys happen to hear this, you know, by a long shot, thank you for making this show and any small part that you have on it of any kind.
Yes.
We appreciate it. And I guess on that same note, I want to just put my closing thought, backing off of what you were saying. What I've self-affirmed after watching this is, you know, because again, Scott, I was saying that you and I are both people who have a lot of aspirations to tell big, grand stories. And I was implying in my my last Kirblog about, you know, what is it that you're saying? Steven Universe has a lot to say, and what it has to say is really, really incredible.
Yes.
And it's reaffirming that, you know, whatever I do, once Tome is over, or whatever happens with Tome in the future, like, what I get to say with the next thing that I do is of the utmost importance, and having something that is definitely close to my heart in terms of like what my tastes are, I think is got to be the guiding force. But I think that the overall message of everything, it's Steven Universe is a huge example to take a very, very important and very strong lesson from, and it has definitely taught me a lot in this past year that it's been around for. So yeah.
Thank you, Rebecca Sugar, for this wonderful gift.
Yeah, no, everybody on board that show, honestly, like yeah, if anyone,
she's the only one responsible.
Nobody else. No. Yeah. Also, I want to just, I know she'll never hear this. Michaela Dietz, the voice of Amethyst, tweeted at me when I was sick one time and suggested a type of soup to drink, and I don't even think that she didn't know who the hell I was. I don't even know if like she was following me or whatever, but she tweeted at me, and that was really nice. And also, I made a completely out of context tweet about like Cartoon Network, make Cookie Cat a real thing, and then Estelle favorited it.
Good God!
So that was,
you're getting the attention of the gems.
Yes, all of them. I think I've probably interacted with Dee Pearl at some point as well on Twitter. But Twitter is real interaction, real human interaction, Scott.
I covet greatly.
On that note, on that me bragging about my Twitter accomplishments bullshit note, thank you all for listening. Scott,
I had Chris Sabat say he loved me today.
Oh, good for well, I'm jealous of you for that. I would love that kind of attention as well. On that same note, obviously I'll have a link to team4stargate.com and all of Scott's social media. Go check all his stuff out. Now that you're not watching it already, probably.
Team4star.com
is considering people have fucking mixed the footage of Steven Universe with DBZ.
Oh my God, yes, those do exist, and they're amazing. Dude,
make more of them.
No, absolutely. I wish I could talk to that person sometime. I want to be like, dude, why? And thank you.
Thank you, but why?
Like
it's because Jasper and Peridot are Nappa and Vegeta. That's why.
No, that's exactly it. Actually.
All right. On that note, leave in the comments below your thoughts on Steven Universe. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you have your own theories if you're big into it already? Tell us all any of your thoughts whatsoever. And if you have ideas for future Kirblog topics, leave a comment about that too, or hit me up on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, etc. And yeah, I think that's about everything. And I don't know what's going to happen for the next Kirblog. Obviously, things are going to be super busy with Anime Expo coming up, but look forward to lots of cool shit. Look forward to lots of new DBZ abridged episodes, I'm sure. Right, Scott? Yeah, cool. Get back to work. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.